Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. I lack nothing. Welcome to Devries Ministries. Now, David compared Yahweh, or otherwise known as Jehovah or the great I am, to a shepherd. And as we discussed last week, David fully understood what he was saying when he compared the Lord to a shepherd, as he himself was a shepherd of sheep as a youth, and later in life he actually became a shepherd of God's people as their king. Now, Isaiah refers to the Messiah as a shepherd in Isaiah 40:11, and Jesus claimed that title for himself, shepherd, in John 10, verse 14. And throughout the New Testament, it's not unusual at all for the writers to use the title shepherd when describing or identifying Jesus. Jesus, the shepherd. Now, David, as a shepherd, provided what his sheep needed to survive, to live. And David confesses to God and proclaims to you and I, the readers, all these years later, that he was his shepherd. God was his shepherd. And that God provided David with everything he needed to live. Now, the sweetest words of the first 5 words of Psalm 23, verse 1, for me personally, is the Lord is my shepherd. David does not say that the Lord is the shepherd of the world at large, and he is, but he says he's my shepherd. It's very, very personal. David is saying that the shepherd cares for him personally. He watches over him personally, and he keeps him safe in him, in his shepherd, personally, which means that's who he is for us as well. Now, it's from this place that David makes a decision and a declaration, I shall not want. And this meant to David that God's shepherd-like care was the end of dissatisfied needs. Now, let me say that again. Now, this meant to David that God's shepherd-like care was the end of his dissatisfied needs. Or think of it this way. All my needs are supplied by the Lord my shepherd. Therefore I decide not to desire more than what my shepherd gives me. I shall not want meant that he, David, knew that he would be supplied with whatever he needed, and if he did not have everything he desired, well, he concluded that it was either not fit for him or not good for him, or that he would have what he needed in due time, if he truly needed it. Now, this is a hard one. I shall not want. What does it mean? What does it mean? Did David mean temporal things? Well, maybe to a small extent, temporal being the things that we can touch and feel and so forth. But the question that comes to my mind immediately is, if he meant temporal things, then why does God allow his children to starve? There are way too many hungry believers in this world for it to mean that. Or why does God allow his children to suffer, either physically, emotionally, or mentally? How does this fit in? I shall not want. Or as some translations put it, I shall not be in want. Okay, so is it possible then that David meant he shall not be in want spiritually? Is he saying, I may not have all that I want, but I shall not want? From David's perspective, come what may, famine, calamity, hardship, is he saying that in the midst of those things, I shall not want? Old age with its feebleness, because you see, he spent the last years of his life bedridden, or even death itself. Is he saying that it will not bring him to feelings of destitute? Because he has all that he needs, all that he wants. Is David saying it has nothing to do with the size of his bank account, that it has nothing to do with all that he has accomplished? Is he saying that he would simply be content no matter what because the Lord is his personal shepherd? When David was running for his life, afraid, tired, and hungry, remember, for years, I think that last week we said it was about 7 years, is he somehow saying God was enough? Is David saying when he did the unthinkable and stooped to levels of great darkness by taking another man's wife and then having the man killed, his actions not being hidden from his personal shepherd? Is he saying that somehow in his great guilt and remorse, he could keep moving forward forgiven, even with the consequences, because his shepherd was enough? When David watched his family fall to pieces, and while his heart was breaking, is he saying, my shepherd is enough? Is David saying he had peace, inner peace, indescribable, unexplainable peace in the midst of great trials and troubles? Now, I was listening to a song this week called "Eye of the Storm," and maybe you're familiar with it. It's actually sung by Ryan Stevenson. And as I was listening, I thought to myself, my goodness, this actually sounds like a 2021 version of Psalm 23. And then actually at the end of the song, he actually reads Psalm 23. In the eye of the storm, so in the eye of your personal storm, he says God remains in control. Why? Because he's enough. In the middle of a COVID pandemic and all of its troubles, God guards your soul, my soul. He is enough. When the ground crumbles underneath our feet, when our reality becomes like a black sky, when our eyes are red from crying and we cannot see clearly, somehow we shall not be in want because God is enough. Our shepherd is enough. When our hopes and our dreams come crashing down, when you feel your faith is being tested beyond what you can bear, when the pain and heartache become a burden that you carry day in and day out, somehow God is enough. Your shepherd is enough. Somehow, in the midst of all this, in whatever type of storm you or I find ourselves in, God guards our hearts, and you and I will not be in want. Somehow there is peace in Jesus' name. When the doctor tells you bad news and you can barely breathe, or when addiction robs you of your beloved child, can you relate? Can you relate? When there's not enough money to pay all your bills, when your hydro is shut off, I've been there. When you are hungry and not able to feed your family, when you lose your family home or your family business, and again, I've been there. Somehow, God, my shepherd, was enough. And because the Lord is your shepherd and my shepherd, somehow we shall not be in want. Now, yes, 100%, God gives good gifts, and I want you to enjoy them, and I want you to thank Him for them, and I want you to use what He has given you well. But there is way more to us than the houses we live in. There is way more to us than the sum total of our financial worth, whether it be great or non-existent. There is way more to us than the level of successes we have or the amount of failures that we have. There is way more to us than the amount of friends we have on social media, the amount of followers we have on social media, or the lack thereof, the lack of friends. The loneliness, oh, the pain is real, my friends. However, in the midst of this, the Lord is your shepherd, your personal shepherd, and because of this, do you believe it possible to be without want even in these situations? Do you believe that your personal shepherd loves you, is somehow taking care of you, even if you see darkness all around you? Do you believe that you belong to your shepherd, And I say yours because whether you believe it or not, it's who he is and what you are or what he is to you. He is your shepherd. Do you believe that your shepherd values you, protects you, and maybe even will supply your basic needs of food and shelter? Maybe more, but maybe just that. But what if your basic needs aren't being fulfilled? Do you believe that God's heart, your shepherd's heart, breaks for the brokenness within this world and is able to provide supernatural comfort and peace in the midst of natural lack? when He is your Lord, when He's your shepherd? Do you believe that provision can be given supernaturally in a different way? A peace that passes all understanding when the things of your world are turned completely upside down. Now, each week, my friends, I ask God, I really do. I ask Him, who am I writing this podcast for? And this week, the feeling was that it's going out to us who are struggling, those of us who are trying to hold onto what little faith we have left. It goes out to those who are crying out to their shepherd, where are you? Help. I don't see you. I'm hungry. I'm lonely. I'm sick. I'm depressed. And I'm about to lose everything. Where are you? And each of these struggles are very, very real. And some of them I know very well. And in no way am I going to dismiss the agony of these battles. But I'm also going to tell you from experience that our shepherd is faithful. I have felt peace when I shouldn't have. There is no good reason for me to have peace other than my shepherd was enough. Now, as Ryan Stephen puts it in his song, in the eye of the storm, you remain in control. In the middle of the war, you guard my soul. You alone are the anchor when my sails are torn. Your love surrounds me in the eye of a storm. Dare to believe your shepherd. Dare to believe him. Dare to take him at his word. And I say boldly, expect that no matter what, even in the deepest of trouble, that your shepherd is enough. Expect him to show you that somehow in him you shall not want. You shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Amen.